meeting to order at 19:02 hours. And
Oh, wait, Bill's got it.
are we ready?
Okay.
Are we ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll call this meeting to order at 19:02 hours. And are there any adjustments to the agenda?
I have none.
All right, then we will adopt the agenda as presented. Minutes of the previous meeting, comments on the current version?
I have none. I'll move that we approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
I'll second that motion.
All right, and all in favor?
Aye.
Excellent, thank you. Let's see, old business, 452 and mobilization participation.
Do you have an old agenda?
Maybe
I think you're old.
July 12th, Monday, July 12th.
Yeah, we're September 13th. Here, let me give you.
Just a minute, I know I have the new one, but it's not coming in. Oh, hold on, just a minute, maybe it did not. Yes, it just updated, let me find it, there it is. There it is, okay. Now I think I've got it right. So then the agenda is 3 minutes over, okay, RFA discussions.
Yes, so Chief DeMarco and I met last week. And especially with the mandate that came up, we've just had a lot of things thrown at us as a fire service. So our hope is to meet in October to present a plan for November to start I think everybody felt that the financial piece was kind of a major importance. So we can talk about how that does with Bill Cushman, getting them on board or something like that. So we hope to have kind of a plan for that in November. So that's kind of the time frame right now.
Okay, and by then the election will be almost over. No
Pretty close.
players on their side, or our side for that matter.
Yeah, from all sides.
Yeah.
Center to cover, just wanted to update everybody, in the meeting that we will have our special meeting on 9/20 at 10:30 in the morning. That's next Monday, and it'll just be going over the center to cover. The consultant will be presenting the findings, and it's an important piece because that kind of tells us where we've been, where we should be heading, and how we can meet some of those goals. And then it's a big player into our strategic planning component, which is the next update. So the strategic planning committee is meeting. We have another meeting on the 22nd. The committee is setting kind of very broad goals. And once those are set, we have to come to you as a board to take those broad goals and put them into actionable items. What are we going to do? How are we going to do it? How are we going to get there? So the board should be seeing them, I don't know, maybe November, December, hopefully the first draft, and we can probably take us a few meetings to do that, and we'll have to decide if we want to do those at regular meetings or if we want to do those as special meetings, kind of like the Stanley cover. So that's when the strategic plan will be coming to you guys to put in really actionable items.
Okay,
452 update. It was supposed to be here a month ago, and they accidentally broke the windshield. So they fixed that, and then the starter went out. So we got that rebuilt. And
Did they charge us for
no,
it?
they did not. Well, their starter they did because that's just a normal wear and tear, but not them breaking the windshield. The starter went out. We had that rebuilt. They're putting it in this week, and it should be here either late this week or early next week.
well,
If no other random things happened.
okay.
And then just a reminder that we've changed the October meeting from the 11th to the 4th, and to let everyone know that I will not be available for the October 4th.
So I would suggest that we move that meeting to another date, hopefully in that week, if we can make it work.
I can't.
Nothing in that week, how about the week after?
Moving on. That's why I asked earlier.
Okay,
The end of September is probably not good.
well,
I am gone the 30th to the 4th. So yeah, I don't think it's.
so it's choice, I get to choose between you or the chief.
Yeah.
All right, well, then
Is there a way around that? If you're not here.
Yeah, you would have to make either Mike or Jason secretary pro temp for the meeting and go on from there.
Yeah, no, we can do that. It's okay to do that, yeah, we've done it before. I think Mike can handle it.
We have to designate whoever it is at the beginning of that meeting.
Yeah, correct. Yes, okay, so we'll leave that to fourth then. Okay, accounts payable and payroll, any questions? Hearing none, we'll move on to transport payable. Okay. You got
I haven't
the,
looked at it.
so this one, is this a repeat deal? It looks like he's approved 100% at one time. In July. So what is the,
So for this particular call, it's just the information on that. We have seen that individual before. Unlike the way that Providence handles it, is they give you like a 6-month time frame where they'll cover your bills. We do it by call. So
right?
that's why he's probably referring to it the way that he does.
So for this guy, this is number. Oh, there it is, okay. For the, number 1344, I would move that we waive the full balance.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
And for this guy, do you have a suggestion?
I would suggest going by what
Recommended?
proposed. Yeah, that's proposed there.
Okay, so, is it a motion?
Yes, I'll move that we go by the suggestion that
Okay, so we are going to reduce that by 34%. I'll second that. All in favor?
I
Okay. And stop there. And now we will close our regular session and move to executive session pursuant to RCW 42.30.140 relating to our collective bargaining issues. Is there any action?
No,
No action expected, and
20 minutes.
20 minutes, all right. So we will adjourn to executive session at 19:10 hours. Expected return at 19:30 hours. I will be so happy when we don't have to wear masks.
I didn't realize how much I smell.
It's all hot. Big print days.
Now I see why the circus have the room.
So is this the real one? That's why.
Yeah. Yes, don't go ahead and tell Pat.
That's.
It's not quite about.
Bill? Ready? Okay, we will retire from executive session and rejoin our regular session. No action was taken out of executive session, and the next item on the agenda is the vaccine mandate resolution 535.
Yeah, per our attorney Brian Stern drafted the resolution 535 and the policy 520 to follow, and then it's basically allowing us to comply or basically stating how that we are going to comply with the proclamation 2114. Go ahead.
Yes, so as much as I disagree with the government telling us what we should do with our bodies, I would move that we accept and approve resolution 535 and the vaccine policy number 528.
So I'll second that.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye. And that brings us to statistical analysis contract.
So we've talked about the standard of cover and talked about the strategic plan. A lot of the standard of cover has gone back and looked at what we've done and how we've done it. And a lot of the things it's going to recommend and the strategic plan is going to come and ask you is to set up response goals and response times and things like that. Well, for us to really know how we're doing in the future, if we're making improvements and if we're meeting our goals that you set, we need to be able to analyze that. And it needs to be as much real time as we can. In other words, at least every month on some things and quarterly and yearly. And so we just don't have the bandwidth and the capability to do a lot of that heavy of a number crunching on our own. And so we looked at two companies, First Watch and IRStats. First Watch is real time as we're going. The problem is with First Watch, you have to tell them what to build, then they build it, and then they look forward. And you have to pay for every build. It is cheaper initially. No, more expensive initially, but cheaper monthly. FireStats is Not as real time. You can go in and mess with it anytime you want. That's real time. But they can look at anything and they will tweak it. Once you pay, they will set up any filter you want to look at something different. And we can actually go in and build our own filters to look at the data our own way that we want, where First Watch you can't. They have to do everything. And so it's nice to have that function that we can go in and mess with something. If Jason says, hey, I want to put in a medic unit, dedicated medic unit at 43, and I say, hey, that's great, it's gonna cost this much, and I gotta go to the commissioners, I can come to you and say, hey, I spent the last week and we did a retrospective analysis of the last 3 years, and this is what the calls we had, and if we would have had a medic 43, and this is what it would have done, and we could have lowered the response time. So that's the part about fire stats that I like more, that we can go in when our officers have a question, or our VCs have a question, or we want to do a new program, we can go back and look and see what that would look like, or what that did or didn't do. So I would recommend that we go with fire stats. I did not give you the purchase off, which I usually do, but in our data analysis budget, we have 29,000 in there. So we have enough money to cover it for this year, and we'll obviously budget for it for next year.
You talked about going back, so these folks have the ability to go back like a year and get that and retrieve that data for us, so.
Yeah, so fire stats does work for Marysville and Everett, and so they get the information from Snow 911 in monthly chunks. And so they already have, because they've been working with Marysville and Everett, they have all that data already, and so they have worked. That's the nice thing about fire stats and First Watch. They've already worked with our county, so they know how our data comes in, what needs to be done, how it needs to be handled. So yeah, they have everything. I don't know how far back they go, but I know they at least go to 2018 and probably farther back.
That would be a help to us to be able to go back and look and see.
Correct.
I like it.
Discussion?
No, I like it. It sounds like it can really increase our efficiencies and whatnot, and we can see where we can improve and whatnot. So
I agree. We've had general numbers, but having more accurate and more timely numbers is.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of.
Basically, numbers, we give you numbers, but they're sort of close numbers. Jason and Bill both have to do it, and it takes them a lot of time to manually go through and look at things, and they're probably missing things, where we'll be able to actually give you really good numbers and look at it in different ways.
Right. So are you going to submit a purchase authorization for this, or would you like us to?
If you make a motion, like I said, I have to purchase off, I just didn't put it in the packet, so I would do 10,000 initial purchase and 1,300 a month.
So that's sort of 15,000, 16,000 a year for their service.
Yes, correct. So we pay the 10 this year and not again, and then after that, yeah, it's gonna be about 16,000 a year.
Okay, that would show up as a line item.
We have a line item that is 3109. You remember what it's data something data.
That's bills. So that's where we have a place for that would go.
Yeah, let me look at the budget real quick. I'll pull it up in 2 seconds. We actually have gotta get my computer to not run so slow.
The reason I was asking in part is I know we're getting close to starting budgeting,
Data management.
Well, I make a motion that we approve the contract with, or approve the chief engaging in a contract with First Watch.
No, fire stats.
Fire stats, yeah, they're right there. It's fire stats. There's some
They are.
fire stats.
I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor?
bye.
Okay. And then just to future levy needs and planning.
Yeah, so this is really to get the discussion started. I put most of the information in the action item, but our levy lid, our last one that was done in 2017, which renewed one from 2011, runs out at the end of 22. And so you as commissioner have to decide how we're going to fund the future of the fire district. And I feel that the levies that were run in 2011 and 2017 are the most effective and efficient way to do this. I would recommend that we continue that same thing again and running another levy in 22. And so you have options of when you want to run it, how much you want to do, if you want to continue this or you want to go a different route. You could stop doing this and do no levies, you could do bonds. But again, I think this is the most transparent to the citizens, gives the most efficient and flexible way of being responsible with our money for the citizens. And so I would suggest again that what's worked in 2011 and 2017 is the best. I asked a bunch of people when they thought it was the best time to run it for various reasons. April kind of kept coming up, getting people motivated to talk to service groups about what it means is a little bit easier to spring than at middle of summer. So people are more engaged about this vacationing, all that. Do I have to take any action tonight?
I would agree with that. For clarification for everybody's education, and including my own, it's my understanding that if we continue to levy the way it was, or is that not?
I believe that is true, but I've asked, he hasn't gotten back to me, but I've asked Brian to write a new draft of this levy and to answer some of those questions. So we're 100% on the same page, but nothing has changed in the law since then. But to the best of my knowledge, you are correct. If we did this, it would be a 50-year sentence, like the other ones. But again, at least for the next meeting, I hope I will have some answers from Mr. Schnur. And then we can decide, like I said, you have to decide on the amount to set it at to start with. And hopefully by the next meeting, we will have, we know what our levy rate is this year, but hopefully with the first price projection, we'll kind of know what next year's might be.
Yes.
And that will help you set what we would ask the citizens with this.
Yeah. Personally, I like, in the past, we have asked for more than we needed. It did not take any more than we actually needed, but it gave us the flexibility just in case. And in fact, several years ago in the downturn, we fared a lot better than most other districts around because it's the way we treated them. And, so when property values drop, we didn't lose any money as opposed to other people who max out their rate every year, actually lost money in the downturn. So I like that strategy. Okay.
So is there any questions or anything you specifically want me to get answered or bring you at the next meetings or anything like that on this issue?
I'm curious about the 50% versus 60. Other than that, just the budgeting that we're always going to do anyway. So
Okay.
those items plus any changes for better covered might fall into it. So all that information, of course, which I'm sure will be part of our deal.
Sounds good.
Server room AC.
Yeah, as everybody knows, our server room is up in the level of this building. Without AC, it gets rather comfy in the summertime. We'll say it that way. Heat is bad for computers. We had a server crash after it was ordered, a week before it got here, 2 weeks before it got here. Took Audie a week to get it back up. And so I think we spent $25,000 on the server. Is that right? 15,000. Okay. So 9,000 on the AC to all that hardware. There's more than just the servers up there. I think is well.
Absolutely.
Billy, anything like that?
No, it's very, very necessary there. Three different servers. The city has their backup server up there. We have critical networking equipment that's up there. Definitely shortens its life, the excess heat that it experiences.
We're just gonna do a mini split for that room. Got a couple of quotes. We believe 10,000 would cover that. It was budgeted in capital when we went through the budgeting last year.
I know this, one of these talks about less than 10,000, but also for bed costs and the taxes, so that would probably amount over 10,000.
Well, they already include that. We don't know. We don't know.
We could, I mean, to be safe, make sure. I think that's what I'd say. If you wanted to do 12, I think that would be safe. We're only going to spend what we can, but that would come back to you for.
All right, I'll make a motion. We approve purchase request up to $12,000 for AC. That's
For the right on heating.
right on heating, yes.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay. Safe drug, or drug safe, not safe drugs.
I'll let Jason speak to what we're trying. Jason and Bill both have been working on this, but a quote for the 2940, but it also says tax and possibly shipping. So I think 400 is what we'd be looking for this.
Yeah, so this is a group project that Phil, myself, Neil have been looking at. We currently have a master drug safe here where we store all of our narcotics in, and it's key coded that the medics have access to. It lacks physical size. We need a larger safe because sometimes it's hard to find the narcotics, and when Neil, our MSO, does find them, he wants to purchase a little bit more quantity, but because the physical size we're limited. Also, we wanted to add an extra security feature of having a keypad that would require 2 different employees to key in their code in order to get access. So this safe would add a layer of security, requiring 2 employees to open the safe, and also gives us a little bit more capacity if we need to store more drugs. It's the one that we have now is pretty tight. It gets a new shipment in, you have to almost shut the door shut to get it. It's pretty cramped. So this is a little bit, I think, roughly double the size that we currently have. And then that actually, really what we're going for is the extra security of 2 employees that it would take to make an entry into that safe, and it's recordable. So if we had an issue of accounting, you can go back and check and see who keeps it in. Again, it's going to require, if we haven't had an issue, it would require 2 key codes to be put in order to gain access. So probably 90% security, 10% capacity is why we're asking to make this purchase.
And right now, there are only a few people that have this. The way we're doing security now is there's very few people that have it. Not even all the medics can get in. So it's not always convenient to get fill out their stock after a call. We can let all the medics have access by having the 2 codes required. Instead of the limiting number, we moved to having 2 codes plus the ability to easily get moved and keyed in. So it will actually make them be able to get back in service quicker.
Okay, and so of the couple that are presented, you're recommending the C2 clinic safe?
Correct.
And, okay, I'll make a motion that we approve the purchase authorization up to $3,400 for the C2 clinics.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. All in favor? Aye.
And I'm just going to do a go back real quick, just to have it on the record. The resolution 535 or policy 528 that was approved had some minor edits from the commissioners, grammatical edits that were not in the packet. I remember that because I've also, all the policies that are in the packet also had some minor grammatical edits, nothing of substance.
Right.
We have a number of policies, so instead of me going through each one, if you guys have any questions about any of them, I think that might be a more efficient way.
Yeah, and they were extra spaces, commas, misspellings, very minor stuff. I went over with the chief earlier today, stuff that I found. Some of it was actually a problem with the conversion from a Word document to a PDF document, created some issues. Turned out to be correct in the original document, but not in the PDF. So, minor stuff.
You would like me to list all the policies by number, I can do that for you. I do want to do a group.
Not for my benefit. As I mentioned, there was no changes to the effect of any of the policies or resolutions. It was only misplaced commas or spaces, or two cases we had misspellings. So nothing substantive changed. As far as I'm concerned, exception.
I would move that we would accept, I'm going to read off the numbers so that we have them down. Policy 103, 406, 114, 601, 905, 102, 714, I missed one,
527.
527.
You said 102 is not relevant?
That was it. 102 was a miss.
Yeah, it was a page, it was fine. I forgot. I move we accept those resolutions.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, any further discussion on any of those? All right, all in favor? Aye. Okay, awesome. So that brings us to district staff and work groups. Sign the statement.
Mike,
Comments?
and I don't have anything new that we didn't cover.
Okay. Commissioner comments?
Yes, I was wondering if the district has gotten any guidance yet for the new Washington State Long-Term Services Support and Support Trust Fund program.
The long-term care.
Yeah.
Yeah. So so it's up to the employees, and so we've given them two options, and then they can also, go out and find any other options. But we provided all of the employees with two different options, two different companies, more options than that, I guess. Each company has multiple options. So we've given them a product through Trustmark, I believe it was called, and another one through Allstate/NFL.
Have we received anything about that a person could use to send the state that you already got it?
Each employee will, if they choose a non-state program, they'll have to get that certificate from that themselves from that company and bring it to us as proof.
Right.
Yeah, I was told, I've already applied for mine 2 weeks ago, and my apologies in force, but I won't get that information until the first part of my.
You applied through your
No, I applied through one of the options we have.
one of these.
Yeah, so nothing with this goes through us unless they don't provide proof, and then we'll do the payroll adjustments to the state, but we're not an in-between. It's between the employee and the third-party company directly.
Yeah, and then we have to talk to the state, and we have to give proof to the employer, so they can do that.
But I know in our attorney's letter, it talked about there would be perhaps a form, if you already have it, you can fill out and send it into the state. Have we seen that form?
No, I was calling it simple the first part of October. And we have till the 30th of October to turn.
And the forms come from the company. We don't provide a form neither to the state. So there was some confusion about that. Originally, everybody thought the state was going to provide a form. They've not provided anything. So whatever company you buy it from has to give you this thing, and this thing goes into the state. That's where we're at.
I was just wondering how we're helping people or attempting to help. Okay.
Any other comments, Commissioner?
Nope, I don't have any comments.
Richard?
No, I have no other.
Okay, I have no comments for this evening, so with that, we will adjourn the meeting at 9:53 hours.